It's 7 o'clock on a Wednesday. That means it's time for Tier 3, and it looks like we're at a wet and windy Baku tonight. So, joining me in the comms box this evening is known as the Magic Man. Out popped the genie. It's Rob. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you? You right?
Yeah, not too bad. Quite excited to see a wet qualifying at Baku.
Yeah, me too. I can't think of. There are a few places. I don't enjoy the rain in F122, and I'm not quite sure how many people are going to enjoy it around here. It's a very punishing circuit that, yeah, will. Any little mistake you make and you're in the wall, and when it's wet, it's even harder to judge, isn't it? So we'll see who can master that in this exciting qualifying session we've got coming up.
Well, at least it's not just me that doesn't like the wet in this game, then.
Well, I think that it's just the cars feel on a knife edge without traction control, particularly in the dry. So add a little bit of moisture to the track, and it's so easy to lose the back end. I'm just following Banstorp there, and even he had a little wiggle.
And
we know
Booth
that
is
he's
out.
one of the best. Oh, goodness me.
Martin's just had an interesting question. What are the qualifying rules for a Tier 2 in the wet? I actually don't know. This was discussed a few weeks ago as well. I believe it was you can't qualify, but I will have a look.
I'll try and get some clarification on that.
Jump to someone. Gav said dry tyres, you evil, evil man.
A good way to just end up in the wall, isn't it?
Yeah, that'd be an absolute nightmare.
Oh, we've got Gibbon out. That's unfortunate. Says he was disqualified for being parked in a dangerous location. Now, knowing Gibbon, I'm sure he was just trying to get out the way, and there was no intention behind that. But no, it looks like we've lost Boothie and Connor from the session already, and Gibbon haven't even done a fast lap yet.
That's just absolutely mental. I'm trying to find out which group it was discussed in as well.
That's all right. Well, while you're looking at that, shall I take people on a lap of Baku on board
Yeah,
with
it looks like
Banstorp?
Banstorp's the first one, so
Yeah,
take it away.
no problem. Banstorp first in the championship, first to set a lap. Now he's going to hammer down to, this is the box section I like to call it. It's three very boring corners, hard on the brakes, sling it in, make sure you don't lose your front right in that wall. He's done very well there. Then you're heading down to this corner, you're looking for that red and blue cross sign on the left hand side, swing it in once again, and it's on the power as early as possible. Now usually this is another big long DRS straight. Lot of time to think, great passing opportunity here as well. You can get people back who've passed you on the start finish straight, and then you want to break between about 150 and 100 in these wet conditions just to be on the safe side. Another 90-degree left hand corner, and then just to mix it up, 90-degree right. You want to skirt with that barrier. He does that very well. He avoids the curb. Right, now we're into a slightly more interesting section. You brake just before the fifth gear, then it's a hard left and a right, keeping it in third or second. He's kept it in third, high traction. That's going to be quite good in these wet conditions. Now we're into the infamous castle section. You want to brake just about 75 there, hook it in, and this is where Charles Leclerc was very, very stupid. Banstorp doesn't want to be very stupid tonight as he hooks it in very tentatively, just creeping through there. That's all you can do in these conditions. Right and then a left, and then it's so vital that you get down on the power as quickly as possible, because then you want to have this long straight section. It's quite sweeping left this. You can lose the back end. You don't want to clip that inside curb. Now it's one of the hardest braking areas in the entire lap. It's about around 100. You've got to brake, and this corner's treacherous. You're going to see a lot of people end up in that barrier tonight. Very easy to get it wrong. Now this is the most important corner on the entire circuit, I think. Gone a little bit wide just on the curb. Luckily he's managed to keep some of the tyres off, but if you go on the curb too much it can really unsettle the car. And then you're through this quick left-right section. In dry conditions you would do that at full pace, but Banstorp is being quite cautious through there, and quite rightly so. And then it's just pedal to the metal, foot down. This is where Gav's going to have his 0-1 wings and it'll be quick as possible, and it's a very respectable 2 minutes and 1 second. Lapping about, 20 seconds slower than you would under dry conditions at least. So that's the benchmark. Let's see who can match it.
Well, that's if anybody can stay on track long enough. We've had 6 retirees already.
Boy, said it was punishing, didn't we? But I had no idea it would be this punishing.
Oh, 38's just beaten the time by 6 tenths.
Oh, that's excellent. Nice to see we've got
Let's
some
have a look
competition tonight.
Oh, B17's no front wing. I was just about to watch him for a lap, but that's not going to help his case. Rotterdam's going in the pits. Kaiser Soze appears to have no wing as well. This really is punishing people tonight.
Well, I don't know how often you practice Baku in the wet. It's not a place that tends to rain a lot. There was a race a couple of seasons ago where it rained right at the end and caused absolute carnage. Fingers crossed we're in for a dry race, because otherwise we're going to be narrating about 5 cars around the circuit, I think.
I've never ever practiced Baku in the wet. Even when I used to do career mode, I don't think it ever came up. It was one that didn't.
Yeah. And
Spa, you could pretty much guarantee was always going to be wet.
Mhm.
Same with France, that had rain a lot as well. But this, no. It was probably the only street circuit I ever kept on there.
As I mentioned before, it's a very punishing track. It's one, where all the drivers here are racing without the line as well, so you've got to remember that. And it's one where it chews up your tyres as well, so your brake points kind of change a little throughout the lap, don't they? And if you haven't practiced at all and you brake 10, 20 metres too late, you're just going headfirst into a wall. You're not running a corner wide. You can't run wide anyway around here. It's just a little bit of wing on your entire front wing, or your front wheel's gone and you're out of quali. So, at the moment my advice to people would be take it cautious, hope that this rain clears up. We don't have a weather forecast yet. But fingers crossed, we might see the crossover point and maybe those enters move to dries, and that's where we'll start to see the really fast laps coming in at the end of the session.
Well, we can certainly hope it goes dry. For entertainment purposes, wet's quite good, but we're losing this many drivers.
Yeah.
Although Scratch Charisma seems to be doing alright. I think he's about to set one hell of a lap.
Let's have a look.
Just approaching the line now. He's probably going to knock a few seconds off what's already up there.
Oh, yeah.
58.0. There's the gauntlet thrown down.
Yeah. And you can see the difference. Maybe this track is drying up a little bit, or Scratch has just practiced and knows his brake points, but that car does look... There were a lot of very tentative drivers I saw going through those sections. He seems to have it fairly planted, and I don't know if it's the difference between sort of like those low wing setups. You can gamble in Baku. It is a viable strategy to go very low and just say, hey, I'm going to overtake everybody on the big long straight. It's what you do in career mode as well. But the car will be kind of useless throughout the rest of the lap. And we're seeing that a little bit tonight. I think particularly Vansort's back, it was very tentative.
Well, anybody would think you were talking about Gav there? Stupidly low wings overtake everybody on really high speed straights.
Well, yes, and that, hey, it worked very well for him at Miami. Another track that has lots of tight technical sections. So it's a viable strategy, but it comes at a cost.
He's just had a collision with the wall.
Oh no, was that turn 13?
Is it 13, 15, whatever it is?
Yeah.
The one where everybody went into it the other year, when in the actual reality. They were doing it in practice, weren't they? They were all going in there. So he's missing an end plate. What's Rotterdam doing? He's just started a lap, so hopefully he can get a good one in. But yeah, like you say, it's just trying to feel the conditions and find your way around at the moment.
Yeah. What I think, one of the other reasons why Baku is particularly punishing, we didn't have chance to talk about it when we were going round on the quick lap, but the curbs here are not your friend at all. They are sort of avoid at all costs, because if you go over the curbs, they'll either A, get you under traction and you'll find yourself spearing into one of those walls, as it looks like Rotterdam's teammate's done there as he navigates past him in the castle section. But the other thing is, and let's see how Rotterdam does as he approaches that most tricky corner here. So your braking zone is going to be about 100. You've got to absolutely nail this corner. Understeer, and you're going into the wall and losing your front right. Oversteer into the curb, and if you go over that curb, it's a big bump, and it'll just spit you out, and you lose all control of the car, and it might just spit you into that wall anyway. So you've got to be absolutely nailing your apexes here. And this is another corner as well. You see how big the bump is on the inside, and if you catch the curb on the outside, that's where under traction you can just lose it and the car spins. So if the track wasn't punishing enough, if it wasn't raining, the curbs are also trying to kill you too. So yeah, well done to anybody who can just survive a lap round here.
Yeah, it's not the most fun track in the world. It's probably the easiest of all the street tracks, because it's a lot wider than most of them.
Yes. Oh, and there we go, a very respectable lap from Rotterdam now into the 158. So I think this track really is starting to rubber in a little bit now.
Certainly is. Let's see who else is on a lap. I'm assuming Gav's going to be heading for the pits with him. Oh, he's fully missing his wing now. So that's definitely a pit entry coming up. Toby seems to be up a little bit, according to the sector time I just received.
Let's go for it.
Let's see if he can improve the Tier 3 Championship leader. There's a hash just gone in the wall in the background. Clearly it's still not dried up too well.
No. And I know Toby is a no assist driver, isn't he, as well? So it's very challenging. You've got the rain and everything, and you've got no traction control, and you've got your ABS that can lock up any minute. No wonder he's just trying to protect his carbon fibre at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, fair play running no assists in these conditions and any sort of wet.
Oh yeah.
The last time I tried fully no assists in the wet, I was just locking up at every single braking zone.
I think it's so difficult, isn't it? Particularly when it entirely changes how the car feels, isn't it? Even all your muscle memory for where your throttle goes down, your brake points, it's all out the window, and you've got to sort of like relearn it on the fly. I reckon.
It's literally sitting there and thinking.
Yeah.
It's what I'm doing at the moment with obviously learning the new ways. I'm having to sit and think about how I do it. I can't go into autopilot or spin.
Yes.
But every time the rain appears, you have to do that anyway, because it's not. I can't find a natural groove on this game. Whereas 2021, I could find a natural groove and just go for it. Yeah, this one, every time I try and find it, I end up spinning.
Yeah, it's about trusting the car, isn't it? And it is about practice as well. Just practicing if you've got the time, got that luxury.
Kaiser Soze looks to be quite massively up and has just set a purple middle sector.
Let's go to him then.
See if he can tangle with the big boys at the top. The two Aston Martins, because I know one of them was claiming that there were going to be an Aston Martin 1-2 tonight. Ooh, just behind. He's definitely coming to spoil the party tonight. Gav's out.
Yeah.
Looks like he's crashed on the fast chicane before the straight.
If I haven't talked about places that can easily wreck your race enough, that's another one, isn't it? That left-right, it's meant to be full speed. It's meant to be pedal to the metal and you don't lift. But if you get your line wrong, then yeah, you can do what Gav just did and suddenly end up with a big mess of engine in the walls. So at least he set a time, though. At least Gav's going to,
That's true, and it's quite a respectable time. So unless we get dries, which I'm kind of doubting with 4 minutes to go, I think it's pretty safe.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at YouTube. Oh, we've got a Hodgie in there. He's saying have fun. Yeah, we certainly are watching this. Gav had no wing and was going for a quick lap. What are you doing?
Psychopath.
He was a second up, but he had no grip for that corner. The guy's mental.
Well, I'll tell you this. In Tier 2, I was up against Calvin, who's obviously a very quick driver and was quicker than me on the race, had the quicker tyres. But he had a little bit of wing damage, so I was able to catch him up in the corners. And then I was about 0.75 ahead going down that straight, and without his extra bit of wing, it seemed to take even more speed off his car down the straights, and he was like an absolute rocket ship past me. I was running 7-8 wings, he must have been running 0-2, and then with no front wing it must have counted for minus numbers because he was so fast in the straight line. So
I was watching that a little bit because after my crash out I stayed on to help Mark H just keep him going, and I was watching through and watching the battle between you two.
It
And
is.
it was quite a good battle, but every time you got to a straight, he just took off.
Yeah, it's just impossible. And, you know, Gav going without a front wing, that is a bold strategy. You are going to be quicker down the straights, no lie. But I'm amazed he didn't lose it in the castle section rather than on that fast left-right.
I'm amazed he got that far being a second up. Just watching Jackster at the moment, one of the Tier 4 boys jumping in the AlphaTauri for the night.
Yep.
In fact, both AlphaTauris are Tier 4. So they're both having a play up with the bigger boys tonight.
Yeah.
Scottish Ninja is also a Tier 4. Unfortunately, he's had a bit of an issue with this horrible rain. But it's good to see him stepping up and having a go.
Oh, definitely.
Because some of these guys could end up moving up at the end of the season, so you don't want to come up and go, right, what do I do now?
Precisely, and there's a slight difference, isn't there, within the tiers, where Tier 4, we allow the line in corners. Oh, gosh, sorry, Banstock going with a very fast lap there, 156, is drying out there. I can't see any spots of rain on the car, so even though that track is going to remain nice and greasy, I think it's the best time to set your quali lap right at the end of the section. But
yeah, it's looking like Scratch maybe on a good one.
Let's keep with him then.
Half a second up at the end of the first sector.
Yes.
This could be a beauty coming up. He may just have enough time for another go as well when he gets to the end.
Oh yeah, certainly. If it were me, in wet conditions, I always like to fuel up and say, hey, I'm going to go for 2 or 3 fast laps, because you never know when the conditions are changing. It's not as consistent as it is with the dry. So
I do the same. I put about 10 laps of fuel in and just sit on the track.
Yep.
And you get faster and faster as you go along.
my one and only pole position. Oh, goodness me.
There's a wing gone.
Yeah, that will have ruined his lap, and there'll be
That's
no
a bit of
time
a treacherous corner in the wet.
Yeah, and you just don't think about it. Even in the dry, it's just foot down. Don't even think about
going to
it.
land 4/10 up at 57.5.
Go again though, if he's got enough ERS. He's down to 5 ERS. That's the problem when you're going for lots of laps in a row. You might need another lap to recharge, and I don't think he's got it.
Have you seen the madman in the Mercedes that is currently on track on medium tyres?
Is that Martin?
That would be, yes, Mr. Martin Hills.
That would be
an absolute madman in a triangle.
Absolutely horrible.
On medium tyres with no assists.
But he's going to get 13th, isn't he?
If he can land a lap time.
Yeah.
All he needs to do is land a lap time, and he'll be up to 13th. You can see him so tentative, though. We'll stop embarrassing him for a minute and see how his teammates getting on.
Quick shout out to Toby there, 156.9097, fastest lap. I had a look at his little circuit map, purples all the way around. So yeah, he's just been getting quicker and quicker and quicker. And those tyres are 5 laps old, but yeah, he's just stayed out there.
Certainly showing why he needs to move up at the end of the season.
Oh yeah, certainly.
There's Ghost Rider up to 10th. Good evening, Mandy. Probably our number 1 follower.
One and only follower. No, that's very cool.
I think we've got about 13 live at the moment.
Oh, excellent.
They've all come to listen to you, that's what it is.
Well, they're all in the pits. They've all crashed out, and they're in the pits, and they're just waiting to see when they can go again.
They're like, oh, Genie's on comms, let's go listen. The vat of knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh, the 38's just lost his wing on that corner as well.
Oh,
that corner's having a few of them now.
Yeah.
There we go, Martin got a timing.
Hey.
Nearly a minute slower than the top guys, but he got one.
It's worth it, you've got to try it.
Well, yeah, it's moved him up from back of the grid pretty much to 13th, so it's put him somewhere. He's just got to hope now that it's not too wet in the race.
Yeah. Gekke's going to pit. I think 30 without a wing is actually up on his time. He's 0.4 of a second up on his time.
Let's go have a look.
Oh, and there he is.
He was as well. Madman.
With hardly any front wing. Yeah, just it's with zero front wing down the straight. Guess what? No front wing means you're very quick in a straight line, and that took him from about ninth place, jumped him all the way up into sixth. So great work, and I think that's quality over, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah. I'm just sitting here praying that we don't get rain in Tier 4 because I'm reserving there tonight. And I'd probably have the same problem that Martin's having because I've going to assists as well. And I've not had a chance to practice wet at all.
Anybody has.
I've been struggling to practice the dry at the moment, especially getting kicked from that session on Sunday.
Yeah.
But there we go, there's the grid. We've got the Aston Martin boys 1 and 2 with Bandstop and Scratch Charisma, Kaiser Soze 3rd, B17 4th. We've got Rotterdam at 38, Night Shadow, the Madman with no wing. Jackster is 8th, Chelsea 9th, and Ghost Rider rounds out the top 10. Geke Matthew starts the 11th, Stringy 12th. The absolute mentalness of Martin 13th, putting a lap in on mediums. Connor 14th, Boothie 15th, Backmazo 16th, Scottish Ninja 17th, Stoob 18th, Johnny Smooth 19th, and Gibbon will start from the back in 20th. Any predictions from you?
Well, those Aston Martin boys at the top look very quick, but that's under wet conditions. It's hard in this tier, isn't it, to look past Toby? He's been dominant for a lot of the season.
I think he came from the back to win it last week.
Yeah. So he would be my pick for Tier 3, but that's far too easy. It's like just predicting that Max Verstappen's going to win, isn't it? It's not very exciting.
Pretty much was in 2022 anyway. Who's going to win this one? Max.
Yeah, so I think the real battles it'll be really interesting to see those who didn't set a time. We all know there are very quick drivers in the back half of the grid. Let's see if they can fight their way up. As you mentioned before, Baku has got one of the widest street circuits, lots of opportunities for overtaking if you bide your time and you're sensible and you wait for those overtaking bits in on the start-finish straight and in Sector 1. So, I think we're in for a cracking race. Let's just hope that...
So do I. I'm just waiting to see if Scratch Charisma eats his own words from general chat earlier, because he predicted that the Aston Martin boys are going to be 1 and 2. Now, they've done it in qualifying. Can they make it happen in the race? And interestingly, they're starting on different tyres. Toby's gone for the hards and Scratch has gone for the mediums. So let's have a run through. We've got B17 in 4th on hards, Night Shadow in 7th on hards, Chelsea in 9th on hards, Geke and Stringy in 11th and 12th on hards, Boothie 15th on hards, Stoob 18th on hards, Gibbon 20th on hards, which leaves Scratch Charisma and Kaiser Soze 2nd and 3rd on mediums, Rotterdam and 38 5th and 6th on mediums, Jackster's 8th on mediums, Ghost Rider's 10th on mediums, Single Track and Connor are 13th and 14th on mediums, Backmazo, Scottish Ninja 16-17 on mediums, and Johnny Smooth 19 on mediums. We've got a right split going on tonight.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. You've got the two options. You've got the simple hard medium strategy, your one stop, which is probably the optimal one around here. But if you don't fancy those hards, because let's face it, it can be a little bit tough to get them warmed up and get any traction on them. You can go medium, soft, and I think, did we have a couple of people go for that on Monday night?
I believe we did, yeah, especially with the amount of safety cars we tend to have at Baku.
Yes, yeah, it is sometimes worth just taking a risk on a set of softs.
I don't know why I even changed my strategy to start hards the other night, because I'd said to Hodgie, because we always party every week, I'd said to him, I'm going to go medium, soft, and then in a moment of madness, when the strategy came up, I changed to hards.
You have little panicky moments like that. I think I pitted 4 times and went medium, hard, medium, and then back onto the same set of hards again, forgetting how many laps I'd done. I watched the commentary back, and for some reason I was the only person left on 16-lap-old hards, while everybody else was on about 8-lap-old mediums. So. And
you still finished 4th, was it?
Oh, well, that's just... Sometimes you get a bit lucky, and I think it's very handy when about 7 of those laps are under the safety car. Lots of safety cars on Monday night. Fingers crossed we don't get any tonight, or they're reduced. There's always that chance of Baku, but let's hope for a clean one and a clean lap 1, turn 1.
Who was that, Hodgie? I don't know that one.
There we go. Mark saying hards will be fine after about 2 laps. Yeah, they feel fine, but those first 2 laps are, again, with Baku, you've always got to just try and keep it out of the wall.
Yep. I think everybody's about lined up now. A few disqualifications, but that's what you get with these pick your own pit box now. 5 red lights, and single track's got a jump start, but we're away. The Aston Martin boys seem to have got away quite nicely together. We've got 38 having an absolutely amazing start. Kaiser Soze stuck with them and got past Scratch Charisma, so he's jumped himself up to 2nd. That's an amazing start from the Alpine. And 38's up to 4th already. What's happening further back? I see a few names jumping up and down. Not a lot really. Let's have a quick look at position changes. It must have been Chelsea and Geke, because one's down 5 positions, one's down 6. But so far so good, everybody seems to be away quite cleanly. You've seen anything back there, Rob?
Well, I think we've just had a spinner right at the back. I think it's Scottish Ninja, unfortunately, just taking a corner. A little bit too much getting on under traction, but they've got it back underway, and fingers crossed, I can't see any damage on that car. So
yeah, he's not had a lot of practice at racing with no line yet. He's actually one of my students. I did a session with him on Saturday.
Okay.
First time around this track with no line, and we managed to get 3 seconds off his time within the session. And he said he was going to keep practicing it, and the next minute I know he's signed up to tier 3. I'm like, well, good on you. Even if you end up 3 laps down, it's experience. And you'll know yourself, once you learn a couple of tracks with no line, it's so much easier to feel your way through all the other tracks.
Oh, totally.
I don't even bother watching the videos anymore.
It's far better just to give it a go, and then, yeah, you'll work it out for yourself eventually.
Most braking zones, on an average, you can go around a track and start brake at 100 to 120 for most corners, and you'll learn where you actually want to be braking, whether that's too early or too late. And Johnny Smooth's out already. That fast chicane has caught somebody out on the first lap. Is that a virtual safety car I'm seeing?
I think it's virtual.
We have a Martin Hills in the pit. Oh, he'll be serving his jump start.
Oh yeah.
That's probably not a bad time to serve it, actually, with it triggering a virtual, because it slows everybody down by 40%. So he won't lose as much as what he would have done.
And as long as you are allowed to serve it, I know you can't serve certain drive-throughs under safety car conditions, but yeah, no, that seems to have done it. Stubbs in the pit as well. I don't know if he's had a bit of wing damage. Let's see. Yes, there is a new front nose for that Williams.
I mean, it could be Martin got really lucky and actually hit the pit lane before the virtual came out. But I believe you can serve under a virtual, you just can't serve under a full. The other Williams is heading into the pit as well, Scottish Ninja. I'm assuming that... What's he going with? Just serving a penalty? Just looks like a tyre change.
Yeah, might have had contact, but he is in there a fair while, isn't he? Let's see, I was having a look up and down the field on that first lap. Battles to watch out for. Just as we go under lights away, we got the green light. Rotterdam and Night Shadow. Night Shadow did an excellent move on Rotterdam, and Rotterdam got him back on the main straight, which suggests to me that maybe the Scot has met his match in who can go the skinniest on the wings, as they were both herring down that straight at 208 miles an hour. Yeah, let's see if he can catch up.
Look at this now. Pop the telemetry. Booth is out. That chicane has claimed another victim.
It's thankfully just a yellow at the moment. Doesn't look like we've got a safety car. We've had 2 retirements, but no safety car as of yet.
Come on, guys, we can't be having a retirement every lap. We'll be out of cars by lap 20. We'll have nothing to commentate on for the last 6 laps.
It is one of the most punishing circuits. I think it's one of those, if you compare it to somewhere like Monaco, it's all single file, and you rarely go over 150 at Monaco or whatever, so if you make a mistake and in the wall, you might just have a tiny bit of damage. At Baku, you're meant to do that left-right at speeds of plus 150, 180, and if you get it wrong, that means that it's going to have the most dire of consequences, and it's caught 2 of our drivers out tonight so far.
Yeah, it caught me out in my first season because I reserved in Tier 2. Oh, and Scratch Charisma's just hit the I'm stupid corner. And has absolutely no front wing. That's not going to help his race.
Oh yeah, he's going to be a sitting duck, isn't he? Particularly through this section. Just the cars behind have got to be careful because he's going to be very slow through that left-right, but be quick down the straights.
Yeah, that's part of what happened to me the other day. I had no wing, was a bit slow through there. Moved left to let everybody past, and I think somebody missed the fact I moved left. But never mind.
See what 30 does here. Yeah, you can just see how slow he is. He's almost having to back off and say, yeah, let you have that. But that's opened up things for Rotterdam behind, who sees an opportunity.
Move yourself left now. Make your intentions clear. Because if somebody goes up the inside, you won't be able to pit.
Rotterdam and 30 side by side. 30
Rotterdam's got absolutely mental speed.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're both in the wall, and they're out. Rotterdam's retired.
Safety car, safety
Gav's
car.
got no front wing because he clipped him when he was spun. Is that a full safety, that one? It certainly is.
You're the boss, so you can say no to this, but am I allowed to call that incident as I see it, and then you can discuss it in the steward's room later? Because I was on board with them as they went through.
I won't be in the steward's room anyway because I'm racing Tier 4, so...
I'll give my opinion then, and then you can discuss it. But to me, it looks like what happened is it was Rotterdam on the inside, and who was on the outside? It was 38. He was on the inside. He made the corner, but as he made the corner, he went out. He took what would normally be the racing line right out. The other, taking the outside of the corner. Problem is, when you do that, you've always got to remember that you're side by side with a car, and he's going to be there. He can't just disappear, and that's what happened. He sort of went diagonally across 38, and the contact was inevitable from then. And then once you got the contact around here, it's just a lottery to see if you lose a front wing or ruin your entire race. And unfortunately for me, it was just unlucky, and we lost a car from that battle. Yeah, Rotterdam had some real pace tonight. It's a real shame to see him go out, but yeah, I'm sure there'll be more discussion about that.
To be fair, you've just said what I thought from seeing it anyway, but obviously I won't be involved in the stewarding for it. I'm sure you will, though.
Yeah, well, I call them as I see them, but yeah, that will be up for...
Well, that's literally what comms is. It's say it as you see it. We're not holding a kangaroo court. That Precisely. Might not be the final decision. That's just what our opinion is from seeing it.
Yeah, and once we get all the angles, we'll be able to give you a definitive point of view on that. But yeah, I think
what I hoped was 38 would hit the magic button and go straight on.
Yes.
Sorry, had to get that one in there. Magic moment. I'm sure Hodge is going to pop up in the YouTube chat cursing me any minute. Although Connor's up to 5th, so he's done pretty well out of this.
Yeah, that's talking about
kept his nose clean, kept himself nice and steady. He's up to 5th because obviously his teammates had to pit with having no front wing, which is really, really unfortunate.
Yeah.
38's had to pit. I didn't see any damage on him, but he seems to be struggling now. He's come back out. Is it on the hards? I'm assuming he certainly is, and they're absolute nightmare to warm up, as you will know. But yeah, there's a few out to pit, but Connor's just gradually made his way quietly up there. And from what speaking to him, he seems quite confident with this track. So, is there an outside shot of a Connor win?
I think it's always a possibility, and I think at some points this race you do just have to go into survival mode. There's times to be quick, and there's times to say, hey, I'm just going to brake a little bit earlier for the castle section because I feel my tyres are going a bit, and I'd rather be a little bit slower, lose a tenth or 2 tenths, rather than end up with no front wing and having to go into the pits and losing 15, 20 seconds or whatever. As I know there's a lot of safety cars around here, usually, and it's a good chance to bunch the pack up together, so you feel like there's an opportunity that you'll be racing wheel to wheel in a couple of laps. But yeah, I think survival is the name of the game around here, as we are lap 5 and we're already down to 17 races.
Yeah, it's not been the best of starts, but they'll obviously all bunch back up Oh, Gav's appeared in YouTube going, here we go, speed and power needed. Yeah, I think Rotterdam were beating you on the speed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's no longer racing, so maybe you are now the quickest guy on the track.
Have to see, but we're all thankful that Gav is not leading the safety car out at the start. There's lots of places where you think, oh my goodness, the safety car start is going to be a little bit, you don't look forward to it. Baku is nearly top of my list because it's such a long straight and people will decide to absolutely crawl to the line. Always just testing where you're going to go, because once you've got to go, you've got to go. That's it, and some will just leave it till the very last moment, and it is a nightmare for those at the back. So, yeah.
Yeah, I hate safety car restarts at this track.
Yeah.
I think I've actually led one, and I absolutely hated it, and I got nailed by 2 or 3 cars by turn 1.
It's easy to get wrong. Maybe the blessing here is that we've got Toby up front. Toby's been leading a lot of races, been leading under a lot of safety cars. He knows what to do. So,
yeah, Greedy Boy's been racing every tier this week.
He has, yeah. Just trying to pick up places. Finished behind me in tier 2, I think he did. Even racing with the tier 1 boys and racing wheel to wheel. So clearly, as we all know, there's some pace in that car.
I mean, I think he needs to stop being greedy though and let somebody else have a chance at a win. I know, I'm sorry, probably an unpopular opinion, but it's reminiscent of the Max 22 season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Almost every race, Max is winning, Max is winning, Max is winning, Max is winning. Would be nice to see another winner.
That's right. Yeah, we were spoilt in 2021, isn't it? I know there were only like 2 winners in 2021, but it was nice that they sort of alternated rather than it was just total domination. But hey, if you're good enough,
got Perez winning one as well.
Yeah, sure. Round here, wasn't it? Perez took his victory round here after Max had the incident and
Hamilton hit the magic button.
Yeah. So what do we think? Safety car in this lap?
I would hope so, because the field's bunched. Fortunately, Scottish Ninja looks like he's been lapped. And there we go. Russell win was 2022, not 2021, Hodge. I mean, if we're talking 22, we had a few Leclerc wins, Sainz win, a couple of Perez wins.
Yeah.
That had a little bit more in the middle of all the Max wins. I do kind of hope for a closer season this time round.
Fingers crossed, yeah. Hopefully the new regs will... and we've just gone through one period of new regs, but hopefully a lot of cars have been able to work them out, and I would like to see a 2 or 3 horse race up the front. I think the Mercedes might come back into it this year, but...
I think they're dropping the triangle, but Toby's gone.
Toby's gone.
He's not caught Kaiser napping though. They've caught Ghost Rider napping, who's been absolutely mugged by B17 and Connor.
Whoa!
Gibbons out!
That was insane. I just saw Gibbon just fly across the screen with 3 wheels.
Connor's literally done a Hamilton.
Oh, he's going straight on.
I just saw it in the background. He went straight in. He took it too quick and was heading towards the barrier.
Blimey. It was almost like...
And there's no front wing for his troubles. And it's only a yellow flag. That's unfortunate, as Bottas would say. But Bannister has absolutely nailed that restart and pulling a gap already.
He's out front, isn't he? No problem. The battles on screen. I'm trying to look at the closest one. We've got Gav and Scratch and Martin, 5th, 6th, 7th. That's where our little trainers bring up 30. And Connor, oh no, Connor's just like 30 through. So yeah, these 3.
Oh, Martin's just hit I'm stupid wall and now has no front wing.
Yeah, it's going to be a big compromising factor. Is he just going to get out of the way? Oh, well, yeah, he sort of backs out.
You do realise you're not in a Ferrari this time. Oh, he's out! Completely DNF. A bit too much speed around that corner, and he was also trying to keep out of the way to let somebody past.
That's another safety car.
Yep, another full safety car, which is probably going to help Connor with the fact he's no front wing, but doesn't help the boss man.
Wow, it's hard to keep up. I'll say what I saw at the restart turn 1. Toby had an absolutely fantastic restart. Something went on behind him, I reckon, and all I saw was this flash of orange as Gibbon just went off into the braking area with 3 wheels on his wagon. Connor was hit as well. I don't know, it looked as if somebody might have just missed their braking zone or cold tyres or whatever, and it just caused a chain reaction. And we were talking about Connor, how well he'd done to just stay out of trouble. Well, sometimes trouble finds you. He did seem to be an innocent party in that, and fingers crossed this safety car helps him and the many others who have lost bits of carbon fibre all over the Baku circuit, helps them get back into the race and feel competitive again, because from about this point on, could go on hard and stay to the end of the race here if we have no other safety cars, but
a few of them have actually done that. Ghost Rider, Scratch, Connor, all got brand new hards. Stringy's got a brand new set of mediums. So yeah, I think a few of them have listened to you.
Well, it is a viable strategy, but you just have to, if you go in hards till the end, then you're hoping that there's no other safety car. If there is another safety car, probably worth risking it and putting on another pair of mediums, depending on where and when that safety car happens. Let's have a look. Can we see the position change? Can we see who the big winners and losers are so far?
Yeah, let's pop it up on screen for everybody. Stubb's the biggest winner at the moment, 13 positions up.
Yeah, our tier 2 reserve, of course, and use this platform to apologise for Stubb, because I reckon we were side by side in tier 2, and he ended up the worst out of it. I know he had a big incident in that tier, so fingers crossed he can get a little bit of redemption tonight.
If everybody wants a bit of redemption. Although these safety cars have really helped Gav. Had no front wing a few laps ago, he's now running P3.
Yep. Well, it's these short safety cars, one after the other. And there's an old saying, safety cars don't cause safety, they just tend to cause more carnage, because you're bunching the field up together.
I know, I really hate it when you get too many safety cars.
Yeah, you just never get in, you can't get into a flow, your tyres are cold, everybody is about half a second away from everybody else, so there's no gaps. You've got to be so precise in those braking zones, or adjust your braking zones, because you've got 2 or 3 cars in your usual braking zone, and it just leads to more accidents, which leads to more safety cars, which leads to more of us meaningless prattle, as we're having to do now, as we fill for time.
Well, that's what MRC comms is all about. We fill it with mindless rubbish just to keep you going. And hope that the safety cars disappear and we actually get some proper racing going.
Yeah, I don't want to embarrass it, but I think Back Mazo might have had I think Ericsson hit us moment, because there was an abandoned car in that right left, but
oh yeah, he's DNF'd.
He must have lost it under safety car conditions, unfortunately, so now we're down to 14 after 8 laps.
Did Grosjean do that on this track?
Yeah, that was Grosjean. That was the radio. I think Ericsson hit us, and Ericsson didn't hit him. He just lost it. He was trying to warm the tyres up.
Yeah, he was swerving very hard right-left, wasn't he, and just went straight into the wall. About where Martin just DNF'd.
Yes. Yeah.
And then went back to the garage and threw his gloves.
And of course, it's not the first time it's happened. Even George Russell, when he was racing for Williams in I want to call it the San Marino Grand Prix, but it's not called that anymore, is it? But Imola. He lost it in the wall there under safety car conditions. Cold tyres, they'll mess with your head.
Yeah, it's certainly not the most fun. That's why I hate safety car restarts.
Yes, but I think we're going to get one around about now. The field feels nice and bunched together. I think everybody who took their pit stops is now caught up at the back of the field. Connor in 13th, being one of the more memorable ones. So, yeah, fingers crossed we'll be back to some racing.
Hopefully, yeah.
And there we go.
Safety car in this lap. Hopefully we can get away cleanly and no carnage this time. Famous last words.
Yep. So this is the big question for me, because I'm never in this position, but obviously Toby's in the lead. He's been in the lead twice. It's almost like when you're in a football match and you've got a penalty and you've got to take 2 in the same match. Do you go the same way? Do you go at the same point? Do you mix it up every time? what do you do? Because he got a little bit. I think it was B17 who was sort of. Oh, was it Ghost Rider last time? Somebody was really sort of caught out on the safety car restart. Toby would be desperate to do it again. He seems to be crawling along here, teasing them about when he's going to go, and he's gone.
I think he's caught B17 out, and Gav's absolutely flying, but he's not going to be daft enough to make a move into turn 1. The master of this super slow snail restart. I think everybody's got through cleanly this time as well.
That was so polite at the back. I was going through the field and everybody was like, no, please, I don't want another safety car. We'll just do this one really, really tentatively.
Oh, Geke's had a bit of an issue, though.
Oh, no.
I think he just went straight on.
That's way too soon.
Probably cold tyres, missed his braking point.
Yeah. He's got a front wing, but he might be... it looks like he's got both his end plates. He might have got away with that.
Didn't look like there were any damage, so at least he's still in the race. No safety car, no virtual, no nothing. And Toby's done it again. He's absolutely annihilated this restart.
Ooh.
Although I spoke too soon. Scottish Ninja's just caused a yellow by missing his braking point a little bit. But credit to him, he's kept going. And it will come to him. Let's just hope we can get some laps on the board now.
Yep.
Or we're going to end up holding up the Tier 4 race.
Yes, fingers crossed we don't do that. I'm trying to look for the big battles down the field. I think staying on board with Gav might be not a bad idea, because we know what pace he can have down the straights, and Kaiser Soze back in 7th is all over the back of Jackster.
38's just had a bit of a moment, ran wide at what is essentially the last proper braking zone, at least.
Yeah.
Ooh, Gav looked a bit twitchy coming through the right-left.
Because he's got no downforce, but...
He's absolutely reeling B17 in on this straight. Makes his intentions clear and makes it clear as day that he's going up the inside. And that was pretty textbook from the Scotsman.
Yeah.
Now he's going to try and set off after Toby.
Now that's another task altogether, isn't it? I can see him closing down the straight. He's clearly got that straight line.
He's got half a second already since the lap started.
Yeah.
But is he going to struggle in the corners is the issue.
Exactly, it is. It's after the castle section, isn't it? It's all about where he is there. If he can keep reeling Toby in, then he's in with a chance. If he can't, then I think Toby can just make his time up in the corners and consolidate that lead.
There you go, Mr. Hodge. There's the tyres.
Oh, 38 turns straight on, and that's another one in the wall.
No, please, not another safety car. It's another safety car. Will we ever get to the end of this race?
For those of you counting along at home, that's 3 safety cars in 11 laps. 3 safety cars, 11 laps.
Mentalness.
Well, so what do you do now if Toby's led every single safety car? When's the crossover point for the hards? Because you've got people who started on hards who haven't changed yet in Toby and B17. I don't think they've done a single pit stop. Is that right? Yeah, and Geke.
Same with Geke as well.
Yeah.
I think it's too early for him to change though.
You would have to go medium from here, I think, because the mediums last between about 8 and 10. I can't remember, or 12 laps. I can't remember exactly what the suggested strategy is. You could go medium soft, maybe, but the problem is any benefit you might have had thinking that you're going to get a little bit of a run on the hards and then fit back into a nice space, come out in 3rd or 4th if you pit on the hards, won't happen now. If Toby pits now, he's going to end up at the back of the grid because everybody else has done their pit stop, so maybe he just stays out. And yeah, he has stayed out. I don't think we've only got Kaiser Soze. He's just come out of the pits. And what's he on? He's on a
brand new set of hards, so he'll go to the end now.
Yeah, those will go to the end, and go to the end quite comfortably. 15, 14 laps on there, he'll have no problem. So, yeah, his pit stop's done for the day.
I'm surprised Stube hasn't pitted actually. P4 on 10 lap mediums, they're not going to go massively longer. I mean, I know half of that's been under the safety car.
Yeah.
So they won't be as worn as they normally would be, but would now be the ideal time to pit. Get the hards warmed up behind the safety car. You know you're going to go to the end then.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I would have pitted last lap. I think you can take the risk now. He's the odd one out. He's the one that I would say, yeah, there's a simple strategy call. For everybody else, it's a little bit more difficult. With early safety cars and you lose wings, you go off strategy, don't you? You suddenly lose the numbers that you've got in your head, and you're trying to remember what these tyres can do and when. So people like Gav and for people like Stringy, they definitely need to pit again, but the big answer is when. When do those mediums become so insufferable? That
We've just lost Chelsea, have we? He's disappeared.
It's another one, so now there are 12.
And he was on a brand new set of mediums as well.
Race of attrition round here, folks. So, no matter where, this is a good point as well. No matter how you are, if you're Scottish Ninja, if you're Geke Matthew, if you're anybody at the back, just remember.
Keep going, you might get a point.
Correct. Yeah. This is your chance. This could be, yeah. You could be the Olivier Parnis. You could suddenly win out of absolutely nowhere.
There's a name I haven't heard for a while.
Oh, that was... As a young Damon Hill fan who wanted to see him win round Monaco, that race is burnt into my mind. It's trauma.
Was that 97?
What, 96, I think. It's when Hill was in the Williams, because by 97 he was in the Arrows. But
I was only a year out then.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, you're definitely close. I'm not... Naughty Simba, getting the year one wrong.
Unfortunately, I'm not the vat of knowledge that you are.
But, yeah, 96 Monaco Grand Prix, and that Williams was pretty dominant that year, and that's where Hill didn't really feature a challenge from Schumacher at all. That's why he was able to get the championship. But
well, he just had to fight against his teammate instead.
Yes. They did. I can't remember if it's still up. Definitely during the pandemic, they put that entire race up on YouTube. And if you ever want a good one to watch, it's mad. It's a proper mad race. Occasionally you get them, and you get some very boring races in F1. But I think that's one that's worth having on in the background while you're working, because we'll never see another one like it.
Although speaking of Damon Hill, I wouldn't mind seeing the '96 Japanese Grand Prix again.
Oh, that's an excellent race. You just sort of remember it for the iconic commentary at the end, don't you? But this one where it was
that was the lump in my throat one, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
With Murray.
Yep.
I used to have that taped, and I watched it quite a few times, that race.
I think so. I was a strange child. I didn't sleep, so I must have been about 7 at the time. And the Japanese Grand Prix is always on early, isn't it? It's on early in the morning, and that is one of my flashbulb memories that's straight into my head. But enough about me reminiscing. Safety car is in this lap. Let's get some proper real racing on the go.
Hodges just said that was his first actual memory of F1. He was 6 years old.
Yep.
Now I feel old because I was 11.
We're just making... There are people...
and I did like me sleep, so I recorded it.
Yeah.
Back when we had VHS. None of this DVD thing.
Yeah.
But
what are DVDs anymore? Anyway, we're sounding like old boomers. Let's stop being Brundle and Crofty and let's be hip and with the kids. As Toby warms up his tyres. When is he going to go now is the big question.
He's going for a slow one this time. He's been taking tips off Gav.
Yeah.
But Gav's the one right behind him. That's probably why he's doing it.
Because he used to be very slow.
I think he's going.
Oh, he went, but I don't know if he lost a little bit of the back end there just as he went away. He lost a bit of traction. And
yeah,
that
got
means
very, very twitchy. Although Gav didn't
run.
manage to make the most of that. But it's still going to be all over him. Have we all made it safely through turn 1? Unfortunately, Scottish Ninja's still quite a distance back, but he has been lapped, so... But just keep going. At the rate we're going, you will get a point.
Yes.
First time in Tier 3. I know you're struggling with the braking zone still, but you still may get a point. Now that's an achievement.
You never forget your first point, I promise you that.
I think it was my second race.
Oh, I had about 5 races in Belgium. But, again, we're not reminiscing, we're watching the action here. Let's see where it's all going on.
It seems to be Toby and Gav out front. They've dropped B17 again, who's possibly going to be under pressure from Stoob and Stringy and Scratch very shortly. Well, they've got a right train going on there. It's all the way down to Kaiser Soze, I'm all bunched. But Kaiser Soze really is in the box seat there, he's on the freshest tyres. But the hard runners in front of him, barring probably Jackster, could possibly make it to the end. But we shall see what they decide to do. Depends how many more safety cars we get, I guess.
Yes. I think the hard runners will want to pit the next time there's a safety car, or they'll just have to risk it. And
here we go, Gav's ridiculous top speed coming right up. I reckon Toby's dumping his ERS though to try and keep him back. And he's set a purple lap in the process.
Tell you what, Toby was about 209, Gav was at 211 there, so there's not that much of a speed difference. He's not getting the crazy speed differences we saw in Miami.
Scottish Ninja's lost it.
Oh no!
And another safety car. I do get a feeling we may break the record for MRC safety cars tonight.
What is this, 4, 5?
Yeah, I think the record is 7. That was a race that me and Connor commentated on. I believe it was 7. It was 7 or 8.
It's been one of those evenings, and it's a... Yes, apologies for those watching and those driving. It can feel quite frustrating. I know when you sort of get half a lap of racing in and all of a sudden you are back under safety car conditions. But we've got 11 people in this race now. Almost everybody's going to get a point, so you're all racing for something. Maybe now's the time to adjust and go into survival mode rather than attack mode. Or maybe it's, hey, this is my one and only chance for a podium, I'm going to risk it all. Now, if I was a hard runner, if I was Toby up top, or if I was B17, now's the time I would pit. Even Jackster, I might consider it, and moving on to a pair of mediums. Stoob, definitely I would get off those 13 lap old mediums. If he's done 13 laps, I mean, maybe he started on a set of hard, so maybe he'll hard, medium. There's a lot of options available.
Yeah, I believe Stoob was one of the early pitters.
Yeah. We have got Toby in the pits, and Gav's following in behind. As is B17, as is Stoob, as is Stringy. As is Scratch,
a lot
as is
of
Dragster,
new sets of mediums here. Scratch just got himself a 5-second penalty for speeding.
Ooh, that could be...
Gav's gone for the new mediums. Kaiser Soze has obviously stayed out as expected, so he's now in provisional P1, if he can hold it. But yeah, lots and lots of new mediums appearing here. Which is exactly what we called would happen.
Yeah,
well, some of them are used. Stringy's on 3 lappers, Scratch is on 4 lappers.
But they can everybody is on tyres that can get them to the end of the race now, so technically nobody else needs to do a pit stop other than for bits of carbon fibre that are missing off your F1 car.
Or if you get a bit chancy with a set of softs if we get another safety car.
Yeah, right.
Disclaimer, I'm hoping we don't. We're down to 12 viewers, this safety car's not working for people.
But I tell you what, that's really worked out well for Toby, because he was in the lead and I was worried that 2 or 3 cars would pit and he'd end up sort of 6th or 7th and in a bit of a scrap. But instead, he's on a fresh pair of mediums behind the only hard runner in the race in Kaiser Soze. Kaiser's still quick and he's still going to give him a good battle. But yeah, for people like Toby and Gav, they'll be licking their lips and saying, yeah, we've definitely got a chance at the win. That safety car hasn't ruined their race at all.
Yes, Gav, that's exactly what this is. It's the MRC tour bus of Azerbaijan. Or at least the Azerbaijan street circuit. You know, I think driver of the day should go to Burt Mylander.
At the moment, it's looking like that.
Well, he's definitely done a lot of work tonight.
yeah. Earning his pay.
Oh, she's just popped up. Let's all do the conga, the safety car conga, the MRC conga. Hey! Well, yeah, that's what it feels like we're doing.
Right.
And we've got another lap under the safety car. Ah, there we go. Gav's popped up. Look, see, all right, and you see the fire towers. Look to the left and you see lots of carbon fibre.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we needed something. It's amazing to think, though, this, what is essentially the massive straight, is normally something like, is it 15 lanes?
Yes.
It's part of their highway. And it's something like 15 lanes going down into about 3.
No wonder. Is that where we can use the piece of commentary that 15 into 3 simply won't go? And that's why there are so many accidents.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So going into the corner.
I've seen pictures of that stretch normally, and it's absolutely mental because all the pit lane and everything's not there. It's all purpose built every year. And the whole thing is just lanes of cars, and they're all trying to merge into this small section. It's like going from a wide bit of track into the castle section.
It is a funny old Grand Prix if you think about how wide it is and then how narrow that castle section is and how it sort of forces everybody into a bottleneck. Very bizarre. It's one of those tracks where I think it's maybe not fun to race, but always fun to watch. You're always in for a good time when you see this in real life, you feel. And even if the F1 isn't exciting, my tip for you is watch the F2 round here. You see people in equal machinery go at it around here. It's absolutely fascinating. You see big lunges, you see big crashes. A sprint race, you get a race here like 2 or 3 times sometimes. So, yeah. Subscribe to, and those on Sky Q on the red button can subscribe to that now. Do my little plug. Go on, safety car in this lap. I've got a
Please, and no Hamilton Vettel antics at this corner.
Let's pray for 9 laps of.
Here we go, safety car in this lap. Let's see what Kaiser Soze can pull out of the bag for a restart.
Yeah.
Because it's been all Toby so far.
Exactly. Shoes on the other foot. Toby's been very good at catching people out. Will he be the one caught out, or is he going to be, quick on that trigger? I think the problem last time, he was on very old hards, and he just went too fast, and they sort of lost it. He had that little wriggle. That's why he was under pressure from Gav all the way. But
at least it's not a Gav restart.
Yes, correct.
With the length of this straight, I'd be telling you to wake me up. Hodges just said Rob has conduct points for promoting another league.
Promoting the actual F2, yes. Apologies. Yeah.
Although if you tried putting the link in YouTube, it won't accept it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, if you could send me that link, I wouldn't mind watching that race.
Oh,
he's gone. He's really caught Toby napping. Gav's about to have a sniff at him. He's going for the outside. Is he going to make it stick, though? Toby's still on his inside. Who's going to come out of turn 1? The side by side. It's all working out for now. They're going to go into turn 2 side by side. Gav's narrowly ahead, and I think he's got it.
That was great. Wow, that was some
brilliant racing, but brilliant action as well.
Yeah.
First thing to get really excited about. But Kaiser Soze has done a Toby, and he's absolutely romping ahead.
Well, I think once those two were fighting, it was always going to play into his hands. Unfortunately, he's got another 9 laps to keep ahead. He wants it to be about 2 or 3, or I think he'd be in with a shout.
Unfortunately, he's got Speedy Gonzalez with low wings behind him as well.
Yeah.
It was already starting to pull the fishing line out. He just does that. He throws the fishing hook out and he's like, come on, I'm going to reel you in. Problem is, once he gets past with them wings, it's hard to get past him again.
Precisely, yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing.
I remember Miami last season. He was 2 seconds behind me and he reeled me in the space of a lap.
Yeah, absolutely mad. Let's see how he can do there. Now he has to defend from Toby behind him. He'll be, thinking about what happened on on that first lap of that safety car restart. Going back to that, I think it was excellent racing from both of them. Nice respect, gave them the room, and I think Toby did the right thing in the end and just backed out into that second left-hander.
Gav's absolutely nailing his ERS button at the moment. Toby's now on his. Kaiser's down to 38%. He's nailing his quite a lot to try and keep this gap going. It's not really working out for him at the moment.
Just having a look at the speed difference between those two, Kaiser Soze was doing about 202, sounds respectable. Both Gav and Toby were doing 211 miles an hour, so I wouldn't be surprised if Gav goes for a move down this straight.
He's going for it, and he's going to have it. Can he hit the braking zone right? I think he's just about managed it. That was heavy though. Is Kaiser going to go back for the inside? No, he thinks better of it. His battle is now going to be keeping Toby behind him. It's hopefully hotting up in these last few laps though. Stringy B's all over the back of B17 with Stube following very closely behind. They've detached a bit from Scratch Charisma, who's just had a bit of a moment, and I think he's lost his wing for his troubles. He snuck in the pits and got the softs when we weren't looking.
Yes, he has. Bit of a gamble. Maybe they can go to the end if he nurses them round.
I think he's missing an end. He is. He's broken his end plate off when he had that moment. Can he make it to the end? And can Connor reel him in is the question. And defend from Ghost Rider at the same time. But Gav has absolutely nailed this lap. He's 1.4 seconds ahead. Coming into the fast left-right. And he's got himself a fan in the YouTube chat in the form of Mini Gav, or Baby Gav. It'll be RFC Danny who'll be hoping to replicate this in Tier 4.
Yeah, our winner
and
in
Toby's
Tier 4
putting the move on Kaiser already. He's got him well ahead of braking for turn 1. I thought Kaiser were going to have a look back at him now there. But DRS has just been enabled. Has Toby gone too early is the question. Because they will now have the DRS down this straight.
See if Kaiser can fight back. I just don't think Kaiser has either the traction on those hards or the skinny wings required to do it, and now he's not really closing up.
He's not making any headway on him at all, is he? In the traction zones he's just struggling because of the hards.
Without another safety car, I think third is the best he can hope for, because those two are going up the road. There's a fascinating battle behind with Stringy B and B17. Stringy was going for some moves last lap.
We've got yellow. What's that for? I think Connor's had a bit of a moment. Hopefully there wasn't contact there, and hopefully nobody's missing any wing.
Connor is missing an end plate, unfortunately.
So is Scratch as well, who seems to keep him going. Jackster's just been in the wall behind him, but seems to have escaped with an intact front wing. It's all a little bit carnage is this race. Connor's had another moment and now has no wing at all. That's the left-hander before I'm stupid corner.
Right at the top, Toby has just made a move, or Gav has just given it to him so he can have the DRS. I wouldn't put it past Gav that he's just given that place to Toby, because that's a very odd place to make the move, and yet Gav has now got the DRS and says, thank you very much.
Did Gav have a moment or something? He was over a second ahead last time I looked.
Well, they closed up to about half a second, and I don't know if Gav just let Toby go past, or if you had a moment, but it didn't matter because Gav took the place right back.
Playing the you go first game.
Oh yeah, he did that in Abu Dhabi. 2 great effects, but he just sometimes has to remember that slowing down, that's brought Kaiser Soze back into DRS range. You don't want to slow down so much that the person in third place just takes advantage.
Although, is he playing this tactical and trying to slow Toby down a bit so he's under pressure from Kaiser Soze? Which will then give him a bit more of a free run.
There's been a bit of a moment.
It's a risky tactic though. What's happened near the back?
Oh, it was Stringy and B17, they were side by side. I don't know if there was any contact, but That ended up with Stringy B facing the wrong way, I'm afraid. So, yeah, that's Stringy B down into 8th, while B17 and Stu are 4th and 5th.
That could be a little tasty battle coming up, but the top 3 are really together, and Kaiser must have got them tyres working because it's absolutely nailing his traction now.
Yeah.
They're not dropping him anymore.
Keep my eyes on this. I want to see what Gav does. Is Gav just have a moment? Is he going to leave it alone? Wide.
Ooh, Kaiser Soze thought about it for a minute there, or is he just trying to unsettle Toby a little bit? But it didn't seem to work.
Oh no. Toby is the one with the run.
Who's got the best straight line speed? So let's say Toby's having a run on Gav, but the straight line speed's very, very similar. Ah, there we go, 212 Toby's maxing out at, whereas Gav seemed to stop at about 208 that time.
Yeah, it's a little bit, but he is able to defend down that straight if he needs it, but I do wonder if difference in ERS and who can save that ERS for those
speaking of ERS, Gav pretty much has none, whereas Toby's got 54%.
Exactly. If you want to save it, it's smart, isn't it?
This could be inevitable at the moment. Because Gav's flashing like a dirty old man at the moment. Stringy B's gone for the pit lane. Connor's still running around with no front wing. He's turning as mad as his teammate. I wonder if he'll live to regret that though, because he's going to have no grip in the corners. And Geke seems to have had a moment and has no front wing. He's gone into the corner where Sonoda did.
Very easy to do this. All one missed break point, isn't it? And it's punishing round here. That's why we've seen so many front wing changes.
Are we actually going to finish the race with 11 drivers?
I hope so. I hope we don't see any more retirements. Back at the front, we're on for the barnstormer now, aren't we? Again, these 3 are nose to tail.
Really
is now the time for Toby to make the move, or is he just going to be happy to sit in the slipstream and say no, I'll make my move lap 25 or maybe even on the last lap 26?
The esports tactic where you wait till the last lap, save as much ERS as possible and just go for it at the end. And it looks like he's going to have a look at the outside, but Gav's gone to the inside to defend. Because obviously racing rules dictate if you're going around the outside you've got to be ahead.
Yeah.
So that's a clever one. Oh, a little bit of contact there between Toby and Kaiser. Who's going to have the run down this straight? B17's getting involved, he's taken second. Toby's going to fight back though. He's on the inside, so he should have the point for the braking. Kaiser's really lost out there.
Yeah, I think what was happening up front is Gav he's still very quick, of course, but he's
disappeared.
But he was disappearing. But look, Toby's going to reel him back in, so he's going to keep that gap at under a second. And now you've got a train where it was from 1 to 3. Now it's all from 1 to 5. And if Gav can't break away, then these cars are just going to catch up. As soon as they're in the second, they join the train. And it means one little mistake, as we saw from Kaiser there, gets punished, particularly when, as we know, Kaiser is on the older tyre, he's on the slower tyre. He'll be the one wishing that he was on a pair of mediums now.
Yeah, Mark's just said what a finish this is. Yeah, I think we could be on for a right action-packed finish. I can't even call who's going to win this. Oh, that was not a place to make a move. Kaiser tried going up the inside for 15.
Yep.
He's suffered for it though, he's now down to 6th. Because he ended up eating a little bit of barrier.
These boys at the front, they just don't want to go. That was so slow. Gav definitely slowed down on purpose there, and it just means that B17 has got the run on both of them, but he had to slow down in the corner.
Who's got the DRS though? I think it's Gav.
Yeah.
And he's going for the inside.
Move. B17's going for the outside.
Gav's going to take the lead again, but he's outbraked himself a little bit.
And they open it up for B17, who's got the move on Toby. Is he going to go down the inside of Gav?
No, he thinks better of it. He's going to wait for the DRS zone. But Toby's going to have DRS on him as well, and we all know what his top speed's like. Who's going to emerge ahead in after turn 3? Oh, Toby's gone for a late move.
Oh, and he's round.
Geke's retired. Oh yeah, Toby has had a bit of an issue. That's really unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just... He seemed to go for the move into turn 3, and I don't know if the space wasn't there, or if there was just a little bit of contact, but whatever's happened, he's round, and all of a sudden he's gone from fighting for a podium position, being down in 7th place, and I think the message I've got for Toby now is just don't drive angry, get back in the game, you know that you've got the pace, and just get the recovery drive in, see how far up the field you can get, because now it's looking like a three-way battle between Gav, B17, and Stube at the top for that podium, those podium positions.
Oh, Gav's just hit the wall, he's lost his end plate.
That's a big bit of carbon fibre, that's going to compromise him a lot going through that left right.
No, it's not just the end plate, it's the entire wing.
Oh boy.
We could be on for a surprise B17 win here, or maybe even Stube. What about Scratch Charisma on those softs? I think they'll be a bit dead by now.
Yeah. Now, as I mentioned before, what's going to be really daft is Gav's going to be even quicker down this straight with no front wing.
And he's not going to pit either, the madman.
No.
But it's going to be so slow in the corners. It's an absolute madman. Is B17 going to be on the inside for turn 2?
Oh, there he is. Gav's just playing bumper
that was a twitchy
now.
moment. B17's got him already. Stube's going to have him as well. Stube's looking for double bubble. He's on the inside of B17. Is he going to take it? No, he's sensibly backed out of it. I don't think he quite had the straight line speed. What action we're getting here.
I know, so you got Gav hanging on for third with no front wing, but I do think Scratch and the Aston Martin, who seem to be all dead and gone, we know that he's missing an end plate, but he's just been able to keep the car on the road and the right way round, so he's gone up to 4th on 8-lap-old softs, which won't be feeling very friendly at the moment. Kaiser Soze as well, who I thought was out of it completely, sort of dropped back when he had a little bit moment, in P5, and is only, 3 seconds off the lead with 2 laps to go?
Yeah,
he's still in it, he's still very quick.
Well, so's Kaiser Soze. Even Bandstop, I don't think is too far away from it at the moment.
No, let's do the gap to the leader. So, Bandstop is 4.2 away from the leader. Only takes one of those at the top to have a bit of a moment, and all of a sudden you're back into it. So it's a thrilling finish here.
It really is. We've got 1 lap to go. Who's going to take it? That is the question.
The top speed's B17, maxing out at 210. Stube at 219 miles an hour down the straight.
Wow, that is a mental top speed. That's ERS, DRS, that's absolutely dumping everything he's got.
Yep.
Bandstop's got past Kaiser Soze, he's back into 4th.
I don't know if that was sort of a team play by them, but I think P3 is on for Toby, because of course Gav is without a front wing on his 3rd lap now without any front downforce.
It's going to be an absolute photo finish is this. I wonder if it's going to be as close as we had in Tier 2.
Possibly.
Where it was a .029 gap at the line.
I think it's fair to say that unless any of these 2 at the top make a mistake, it is a 2-horse race up the top, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
between.
If we look at it though, Toby is on for a podium because Stube's a Tier 2 driver, so he will take a demotion at the end. So the podium at the moment is looking like B17, Night Shadow, Bandstop. But which way around are Night Shadow and Bandstop going to finish? That's the grandstand bit.
Oh.
It's looking like B17's got the win anyway.
He's pulling away, he's got about a gap of half a second, but it gets in your head, particularly this last corner, does it very nicely, but that gap's down to 0.3.
Stube scrapes the wall there, but it was only his rear wheel, so he'll get away with that one. That's how much they're pushing the limits though.
Now it's a drag race, isn't it? Now who's brave enough through here? The left, right, you've got to go full speed through here. Oh, Stube had a bit of contact on the wall, but he's kept it in the right direction. That gap's closing, 0.3, 0.25.
Gav's out!
Gav's out!
The chicane has claimed a victim at last second.
B17 with the victory though. Stube.
Banstop comes on third, Kaiser Soze fourth, Scratch fifth, Jackster sixth. Now we've just got to wait for Ghost Rider to make his appearance. Obviously Stube will drop down to sixth, so the podium will be B17 Banstop Kaiser Soze. B17 Kaiser Soze, where have we seen that one before? The two challenger protagonists in MRCX. And there's Ghost Rider to claim seventh. So Connor's going to come through again with no front wing. It must be an Alfa Romeo theme. And he's going to claim eighth. He's managed to keep it out of the wall. Stringy B is 10th, a lap down. There we go, and he's over the line now. We started with 20, we finished with 9.
Whew. Well, that was carnage. Drive of the day to Stube. I think that's it's pretty good. I mean, B17 hats off to him. I think getting the win in all that carnage, the one person to sort of keep out of trouble, really. Pit at the right time, kept his cool right at the end, had enough ERS. Yeah, excellent win. Really great drive from Stube, and yeah, unlucky Toby. I think whatever happened in that incident, I'm sure we'll have a look at it in the stewards, but yeah, we'll see what happened. But that kind of, as soon as you're facing the wrong way, he was out of contention for those for that winning start. But yeah, excellent.
It really was unlucky, unfortunately, but we got what we got. We did get a hell of a race in the end. So there we go, final classification. Scroll down so we've got it for results purposes. It's all DNFs at the bottom, unfortunately. It's not very often we have a race where we end up with that little finishers. Bandstop also snags the fastest lap for an extra point. So that'll be 19 points onto his tally from this race.
Yep.
I'll have to see how close he is to wrapping the title up.
He'll be closing in now. I obviously wouldn't have got quite as many points as he won today, but still a performance he can be very proud of. If you have a look at those best laps times, it's clear that he was, yeah, once again in another league today. But yeah, B17 first, Stube second, Banstop third. That's our top three and podium. And yeah, well done to all drivers. Well done if you finished as well today. If you're one of the 8, congratulations for keeping the car on the track. And yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully, Tier 4, we can have a few more finishes in that.
Hope so. But there we go. That's Tier 3 done. Thank you, Rob, for joining me, and thank you everybody for watching.
Cheers. Take care.
Take care. Good night.